Welcome back, dear viewers. To shed more light on this issue, we are delighted to be joined over the phone by Ambassador Medhat Meleegy, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Good evening, sir.
Good evening to you.
Your Excellency, can you hear me?
Yes, I do. Do you hear me now?
So, Egypt strongly condemned an Israeli announcement of establishing an agency to manage the deportation of Palestinians from Gaza. How do you see this Israeli announcement, and how do you assess Egypt's response?
Well, actually, I think the idea of Israel establishing this agency shows to which extent they are still focused on the idea of expulsing the Palestinian and forced replacement them. Of course, Egypt has refused this because it's, first of all, it's totally against the international law. And second, which is most importantly, that Israel or the world or the international community cannot call this a voluntary displacement, as they're trying to call it. Actually, it's a forced displacement, because if you are creating all the circumstances that disabled the Palestinians from taking a free decision, then in this case you are forcibly displacing them. And that's why Egypt has totally and categorically have refused this principle from the Israeli side, and is still calling upon the American to help to reinstall once again and to continue with the peace plan that it has put. It's not of course the full peace thing. It's just an initiative to be able to spare the life of the Palestinian from the second wave of continuous bombardment from the part of the Israelis.
So, Your Excellency, Egypt called on the international community and the UN Security Council to adopt a decisive stand toward the continued Israeli violations and provocations. In your opinion, how do you assess the role of the international community? Does it have an impactful or effective impact on the Israeli decision makers?
Well, I think in large we can describe the world community in two categories. The first one is the one who are sincerely supporting the Palestinian cause and the Palestinian issue from a just perspective. And those are, unfortunately, they don't have that kind of influence that they could use to exert any pressure on Israel to comply with the international law. And the second part, which is the most influential part and the most important category, is the Western Bloc. And although we, of course, this bloc is consisting of the United States and the UK and some other countries who are totally supporting Israel in its genocide. That's why they're full complicit in what Israel is doing. And then there is the Europeans who are condemning what Israel is doing. And they wouldn't even go to the word condemning, but they are not satisfied with what Israel is doing, and they wanted to comply with the international law. But these countries, although they in a certain way, they empathize with the Palestinian cause, but they do not take serious steps against the Israelis to deter it from continuing its genocide on the Palestinian people. What they are doing is just giving some hollow declarations of not supporting what Israel is doing, but at the same time not taking any real pressure on Israel, such as boycott or sanctions against the Israelis, or even try to call upon their ambassadors to come back, or any step of the sort. So actually, both categories are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And that's why Israel is continuing its violation to the international law, because it feels that it can go unpunished in what it's doing, and that the real world that is helping it with finance and with military support is still on its side. And that's why Israel is continuing what it's continuing right now.
Your Excellency, as part of the international community, how can the Arab League play a more active role in this regard?
Well, the Arab League is, I mean, we have to understand that the Arab League is the result of the power of the Arab countries. And first of all, although the Arab League is trying as an organization to do its utmost to call upon the international bodies such as the Security Council and the General Assembly of the United Nations to take resolutions and to take decisions against the state of Israel and what's committing. However, first of all, I don't think that all Arab countries are on the same wavelength. I don't believe that all Arab countries are concerned with the with the Palestinian cause as much as Egypt, for instance, is committed to. I believe that some Arab countries are not on the same wavelength, and this is, to a certain degree, is awakening the Arab League to take stronger steps against Israel in the international community. Having said that, we have to understand that it all depends on the free will and on the political will of Israel and the United States to comply with the international law. Unfortunately, Israel is not doing so, and the United States not just is trying to be impartial towards this, but actually it said in a very clear voice, even President Trump himself has said that he is supporting Israel in everything it's doing. And since the United States is the first supplier of arms to Israel, and the one that has the right to veto in the United Nations. So that's why Israel is continuing its bombardment and its killing and its massacres and its war crimes, because it knows that since the United States is supporting it, then nobody can touch it, which is the case right now, until today at least.
Your Excellency, you said that Egypt is really committed to the Palestinian issue from the very beginning. So can you shed light on the Egyptian role in the Palestinian issue since long years or a long time ago, and especially since the crisis began?
Well, even before the war started in 1948 and the Israel state was declared as an independent state, and Egypt has tried to prevent this and even went into war to defend the Arab right and the Palestinian right. And ever since it was committed until today, for two reasons. The first one is that we totally believe in the Arab country or the Arab state of Israel, of Palestine, and that we are committed to help it to regain its land, especially after the 1967 war. But if we are talking about the recent months and ever since this genocide took place after the 7th of October 2024, Egypt has taken all the steps, actually 23, I'm sorry. Egypt has taken all the steps, the necessary steps, in order to spare the Palestinian life on one hand, and presenting one initiative after the other, whether in order to help with the exchange of prisoners from both sides, or trying to set a peace plan or a roadmap in order to have a total ceasefire and cessation of hostilities from the Israeli side on the Palestinians. However, Israel have always met these plans either by accepting it in its first and early stages, and then retreating their acceptance, like we've seen with the last agreement that was supposed to have 3 stages, and after the first stage was completed, instead of moving to stage 2, Israel claimed that Hamas did not comply with the first stage and resumed its war again on the Palestinians, or even totally refusing the Egyptian plan, such as they did when we talked about the reconstruction of the Palestinians without expulsing them. I think that the plan of Mr. Trump, although unrealistic and unacceptable by the whole community of the world, Israel still insists that it's the only and the best plan, because it serves, of course, its extension needs and how it can expand the country, the state of Israel on the Palestinian land, So it was the only country who accepted this plan and started to implement it. And that's how we reach the point now when, as you said in the beginning, when they established this administrative entity to help, between brackets, the voluntary displacement of Palestinians, which is, as we said, it's a forced displacement of the Palestinians and a total violation to the international laws.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency Ambassador Medhat Meleegy, the former Assistant Foreign Minister. It's always a pleasure having you with us on Nile TV International. And dear viewers, we'll have a short break and we'll be right back.